Welcome. I'm Tracy Smith, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. They're close friends with a lot in common, successful TV careers, and they're both single fathers by choice. So when Anderson Cooper sat down with Andy Cohen, we got a revealing look at their lives off camera.
How has parenting changed you? How are you different?
I think it's changed me in every way. I think my priorities have completely shifted. I think my sense of accomplishment has totally changed. And even just getting your kids breakfast and getting them out to school. When I drop him off at school, I'm like, you did it, dude. That was a rough 2.5 hours. You did that.
Later in the show, Cohen talks to Cooper about being what you might call a pop culture king.
You really are in the epicenter of this pop culture, I don't know what it is, Michigas. You are
Fantasy.
are in the midst of this world. It's an ecosystem that you inhabit fully and have always dreamed of inhabiting fully. From the time you were a little kid.
By the way, that's one of the reasons I would be brazen enough to publish my diary. I think that the world around me, behind the scenes of a talk show, parenting 2 kids, living in the greatest city in the world, interacting with very random famous people all the time, that to me is a delicious cocktail that needs to be shared.
Then, are you a shoes off or shoes on kind of home? Mo Rocca explores the science and etiquette of the great shoe debate.
For many in the shoes off camp, it's strictly about hygiene. Indiana University biogeochemist Gabriel Filippelli has been tracking what the shoes on people are tracking into their homes, including at least one dangerous contaminant.
I took samples of my dust and brought it into the lab, and it was like, oh my God, it was super high for lead.
And by taking your shoes off, you still might have some lead in the house, but significantly less.
That's exactly right.
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. You may know Anderson Cooper as host of CNN's AC 360 and a 60 Minutes contributor. And you may know Andy Cohen as a talk show host. But did you know they're also great friends? Here's Anderson interviewing Andy.
Well, this is weird.
It is a little weird.
Well, it's very weird.
Your whole body posture.
Am I weird?
Yeah, you seem like formal. This is
I suddenly feel very vulnerable. I don't know where this is going. You need to do your Barbara Walters Jedi thing right now and make me feel comfortable.
I was going to start this off.
So it turns out interviewing your closest friend is not so easy. I met Andy Cohen nearly 30 years ago. He had really long hair then and was a young producer at CBS News. Over the years, we've become really close. We vacationed together.
We are taking a mystery shot.
Spend New Year's Eve together. And both of us decided to become dads in our early 50s.
He's very lifelike.
That's Lucy, Andy's daughter, who just turned 1. His son Benjamin is 4. I have a 3-year-old son, Wyatt, and a 1-year-old named Sebastian.
So what's Lucy done today?
She went to music class.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
It turns out we both wanted to have kids for similar reasons.
That's right.
Your mom loved that Peggy Lee song, Is That All There Is? That's where I was. I was approaching 50, and I heard that song in my head. I was like, there's got to be a greater purpose for me. This is wonderful, and I absolutely love it, but this is not, there has to be a greater purpose.
How has parenting changed you? How are you different?
I think it's changed me in every way. I think my priorities have completely shifted. I think my sense of accomplishment has totally changed. And even just getting your kids breakfast and getting them out to school. When I drop him off at school, I'm like, you did it, dude. That was a rough 2.5 hours. You did that. Do you feel,
yes, I do.
Has Wyatt moved to a toddler bed yet?
No. What is your obsession with toddler beds?
Well, call me when Wyatt moves to a toddler bed. It is
how hard can a toddler bed?
Oh, you are messing with your life. Basically, what we're all doing, with all due, is keeping our children in a cage, which is the crib. Okay? No, I mean, they can't get out. It's not a real, it's a beautiful, But like the toddler bed is a nightmare.
That's an
because
expressway?
they now have free will. And they are coming to you at all hours. All of the rules, no more. The lines are blurred and the power shifts. Young Benjamin holds the keys to the castle.
Andy writes about his new life with kids in his fun and fast-paced new book, Daddy Diaries, The Year I Grew Up, the third in a best-selling series of diaries he's written.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get this off, but I can't.
It's about the high highs and low lows of being a single dad who also works long hours in the center ring of an often manic media circus. He has 2 radio channels on Sirius XM, a book imprint,
This is Mariah Carey's
a late-night talk show on Bravo, and he presides over the Real Housewives franchise
You said you sat in Julio Iglesias' lap.
as an executive producer and host of those drama-filled reunions.
I think this book is really as much a statement about pop culture in the year 2022 as it is about being a father or my life and what I did.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, because I think it's a reflection on how pop culture works in a weird way.
The sheer number of like celebrity encounters you have it's like, oh, Meghan McCain texted me and Cher, and Jane Fonda gave me advice about raising a girl.
I love dropping names. And I feel like if you're going to write a book like this that's inspired by Andy Warhol's diaries, you better be prepared to drop some names. And I think that's one of the reasons why I latch onto this format so much, because I think it's fun. When you're hosting a talk show, you're interacting with everyone who's kind of in the mix and in the zeitgeist. And I'm certainly trying to create water cooler moments that feed into that pop culture machine.
There's a lot of stuff I learned about you in this book that I hadn't known. You subscribe to a service that emails you every morning with clippings anytime your name is mentioned?
On television.
Are you insane? Why would you do that?
I think it's interesting.
Well, of course you think it's interesting. It's about you.
Yeah,
Why
exactly. Well, I mean, I don't send the clippings to you. I mean, it's for me. It's my own thing.
It just seems...
I always like to take stock on where I am in the world.
You say, I can't believe how much my life has changed, how much I'm building for my family's future. It's a heaviness I've never felt, but also a sense of sureness that feels good. What is the heaviness?
Well, it's interesting. I've never, as I think you know, I am not someone who worries. Right. I am not someone who walks around.
I've never met anybody who is as happy and optimistic and enjoys their life more than you.
And I think this year, for the first time, I think having Lucy, my second child, I think suddenly I was like, wow, I have 2 kids. I'm doing this alone.
You have help.
Yes.
And doing this without a partner, did that give you great pause?
I'm happy to say it didn't. I just thought, I want to do this, and I'm doing it, and I know it's going to be really hard, and I don't know what that actually means.
Has it changed the way you think about finding somebody to be involved with? I mean, is the bar a different bar for what the person needs to be like?
Yeah. I mean, I think that some, go-go dancer that you would be trying to set me up with 3 years ago maybe wouldn't be the...
Have I tried to set you up with a go-go dancer?
No, but why haven't you? Anyway.
But are you really ready to I don't know that you're ready to have a
partner?
Somebody there all the time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I got 2 kids here all the time. So what makes you think I'm not ready? Like, have I not shown enough that I'm settling down? I mean, what do I have to prove to you?
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Andy often Instagrams about some of the joys
You're crying because you want to stay at the supermarket?
and frustrations of being a parent. And I've noticed he's starting to sound a little bit like his mom, Evelyn Cohen, but I wasn't sure how to mention it to him.
Do you find yourself becoming your parents?
One of the things I realized in writing the book is that I am becoming Evelyn Cohen, who looks for and finds things to worry about. And I now am in my bed with a carousel of worry churning in my head. It's not fun. It's not who I am. I'm like, who are you? Who is this guy?
What do you worry about most with them now?
As a single parent, I just worry about being everything to them. And I want to be everything to them. And I know how impossible that is in a weird way. If I spend 3 hours with Ben and then I have to go to work, you know, you're at work and you're like, did I spend enough time with Ben today? If Ben tells me that I'm his best friend, or he grabs for my hand to hold it, or he cuddles me extra tight, I mean, there's not going to be a bigger win in my day than that.
That's sweet.
You're sweet. Marry me.
Do you want to get married someday?
To you? No. Was that a proposal? Are you proposing? Do I want to get married? I got to tell you something. Not only do I love, but how fun would my wedding be?
Up next, an exclusive excerpt from our chat with Andy Cohen. You can only see right here on CBS News streaming. Stay with us.
I didn't expect it. It was new.
As promised, here's more from Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen.
Isn't this surreal? You and I, two gay dads, sitting here on the prestigious CBS Sunday Morning, talking about our parenthood experiences. Who would have thought, honestly?
Well, that's true.
It's wild.
What is it you're worried about now?
What am I worried about now? Homes in construction, schools for my children's health. What happens if something happens to me? I'm doing this alone. My health, their friends, their livelihood. Is this setup okay? Right. Am I around enough?
Right.
Is that
None
enough?
of these are things I've ever heard you say before you had kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. Before you had kids, it was like, where am I going to eat tonight? Or like,
right.
Who am I going to have a kiki with tonight?
Right. How late am I going to sleep? Should I sleep till 10 or 11?
But are you happier this way?
I am happier this way. I mean, I feel a sense of purpose for the first time. And I think writing these books are like, I'm not in therapy presently. I would like to be, but and I will be. But I think writing these books actually was a form of therapy for me. And I think the first couple books, I was looking at it, and my takeaway was, is that all there is? Am I just going to be a late night talk show host, party guy? Is that my destiny? And how sustainable is that? And this year it was really looking, okay, well, you know, when you put down every day in print for publication what you're doing and how you're living, it certainly causes you to question what you're doing and how you're living.
But you really are in the epicenter of this pop culture, I don't know what it is, Michigas. Or, I mean, you are
Fantasy.
so in the midst of this world. It's an ecosystem that you inhabit fully and have always dreamed of inhabiting fully. I mean, from the time you were a little kid.
I mean, by the way, that's one of the reasons I would be brazen enough to publish my diary. I think that the world around me, behind the scenes of a talk show, parenting 2 kids, living in the greatest city in the world, interacting with very random famous people all the time, that to me is a delicious cocktail that needs to be shared.
But it's only because, but you could say that about my life as well, but I would not publish my diary because it's really boring and probably depressing. It's probably like full of self-doubt and...
Well, that's on you, babe. Mine isn't, okay? Mine is a light, frothy...
Well, I know, but that's what's fascinating about your life. Like, you are living this life that you always dreamed of.
I am. Getting famous when you're already an adult and having the axis of the world shift around you is a fascinating thing. Yeah. And you're always giving me crap saying, oh, you love being famous. Guess what? I love being able to get into restaurants that I couldn't ever get into.
That's your number one thing to you.
It is.
That's the number one thing.
And you know what else? I love walking down the street and having people say, hey, Andy. And I say, hey. And I'm like, wow, do I live in Mayberry right now. It's incredible. This is amazing. I love this.
But it is. I think it's interesting, and I think I enjoy seeing you enjoying the life you have so much.
Thank you.
Once you become a parent and you're a gay parent, you do realize how few there are and how difficult the process is and how expensive the process is.
Even in the village of the most progressive city in the country, you have to find your community.
And you write about this in the book. When you go to schools and look at schools or go to mixers where there are the parents of all the kids in your child's class, you're pretty much the only gay one or the only gay single person.
Yeah, I'm the only single parent at Ben's school, and I'm the only gay parent at Ben's school. Yeah.
And you feel that. You notice that.
I do feel it. It's funny. I think I talk about the year I grew up, and there's a self-consciousness about that I've never felt before. And there's a vulnerability that I've never felt before walking into that space as...
Seeing all those other parents who are straight, who are not single parents mostly.
Yeah.
That makes you feel less than.
It makes me feel vulnerable in a way that I think was surprising to me. I didn't expect it. It was new. And it's just another thing to navigate, really. It is interesting. I hope that some young gay kids could be watching us and think, oh, wait, so...
I want to be like these middle-aged guys?
Well, maybe I want to be a parent and I could do it.
I want to be like these gray-haired middle-aged guys.
Right. When do I get gray hair?
And wrinkles.
And wrinkles.
Up next, shoes on or off? Welcome back. We now bring you Rocca, who puts the shoe on the other foot, so to speak, taking a look at both sides of the polarizing debate, shoes on or off inside the house.
What are we getting on the bottoms of our shoes?
Okay, right now, some dirt, grass, weeds, spores, maybe some manure.
When it comes to the great shoes on, shoes off debate, and you're okay with all of that going into your home.
Well, my dog was just rolling in a dead animal. I'm good.
Ask Amy advice columnist Amy Dickinson knows where she stands. What's happening here? Am I removing or?
You're keeping your shoes on.
Okay. Dickinson, who lives in the Finger Lakes region of New York, grew up on a dairy farm.
I got together with some friends from high school last week, and I was asking them shoes on, shoes off, and they were all like, oh no, shoes on. And that's when I decided people who live in the country, we wear shoes indoors.
Dickinson, who wrote a column on this very subject back in 2007, sees the debate as an issue of hospitality.
In my experience, every time I have been asked to remove my shoes, of course I've done so, but I always feel like the host is valuing their floors more than they're valuing their guests or other people's comfort.
Hey!
Hi.
Welcome, welcome. Come on in, Mo.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, no.
But for writer Jeff Yang, asking guests to remove their shoes and wear slippers
Left shark, right shark?
is precisely about hospitality.
I think what changing into slippers does is it gives you a sense of informality and comfort and intimacy, right?
Yang is something of a convert. Growing up on New York's Staten Island, he didn't always abide by house rules.
I was a little rebellious. I mean, that's the extent of the rebellion, right? Not like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's like, I'm going to wear my shoes in the house, Mom. And that was part of the reason that my parents felt like a semester spent abroad would be a good thing for me, to learn a little how things are supposed to be done.
So at the age of 8, Yang was sent to stay with his aunt Chi Mei in Taiwan, where shoes are not worn in the house.
I just sort of walked on in thinking, okay, I'm going to give her a big hug. But as I was walking in, she basically raised her hand and said, what do you think you're doing? And I stopped, and she said, if you walk into my house with your shoes on, you're walking across my heart.
With those words, Yang's aunt instilled in him a deeper lesson.
When you take off your shoes, you are changing yourself from a stranger to a friend and family member, and as a result are sort of transformed from outsiders to insiders.
For many in the shoes off camp, it's strictly about hygiene. Indiana University biogeochemist Gabriel Filippelli has been tracking what the shoes on people are tracking into their homes, including at least one dangerous contaminant.
I took samples of my dust and brought it into the lab, and it was like, oh my God, it was super high for lead.
And by taking your shoes off, you still might have some lead in the house, but significantly less.
That's exactly right. Okay. And I've now done a post-measurement of my own human experiment. It's reduced by more than half.
Reduced by more than half, okay.
So
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
If you weren't sure where he stands, Filippelli shared his findings in an opinion piece entitled, "Wearing Shoes in the House is Gross."
Are you surprised at how contentious this is?
I was. I mean, it is a deeply ingrained emotional subject, apparently.
And why do you think it is?
I think it taps into something that we can have an argument about that's not political or religious, that is robust, and it doesn't make someone feel terrible afterwards.
So whether you're shoes on or shoes off, consider this footnote from Jeff Yang.
People who want to keep their shoes on could put on booties over their outer shoes, not a problem. As long as you see the other person, I think there's almost always a way to actually get around these differences.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time on Here Comes the Sun.